Hello and welcome. Lovely to see you all. Welcome those on the Zoom and those watching the YouTube live stream or the recording. We do these weekly open satsang every Wednesday, and yeah, it's just a very sweet time to pause in the middle of your week, no matter what you've been doing or how you've been feeling, to just give yourself a break or a gentle reminder to meet yourself, to be with yourself, to be with like minded people, all with the same intention, the same love of truth and awakening and what is real. Yeah. So I always like to start by just having a check-in with you, with whoever's here. If you feel to type a few words in the chat, how you're feeling right now, what you're bringing in this moment, because we don't have time for dialogue in this half an hour session. So it's just nice to have a sense of who is here and what you're bringing today. If you feel like, you don't have to, but if there are some words coming right now, you can just type them in the chat. Kati, tired. Yeah. After a long day. Christina, sleepy and happy to be here. Nicole, grateful. Dennis, hello from the USA. Hello. Anyone else? Annette, today I felt as if there's so much growth and change with the spring season, but I feel as if I'm totally stagnating. I get you. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's go on. Jean-Marc, settling down after hurry up to be here on time. Okay. Thank you. Right. Well, it's nice to get a sense of you, and let's take a few moments just to be with ourselves. So just get comfortable and close your eyes. Take a few deep breaths into the belly. And just start to settle in to this seat, feeling the contact with the ground. Noticing how this body is feeling in this moment. Any aches or pains, any tension. Noticing whatever is here, just the way it is. And noticing your energy levels. Are you tired or do you have some energy? Noticing any feelings, emotions. whether it's subtle or more obvious, stronger. Just notice it. Noticing any thoughts. Thoughts are welcome to be here too. They just don't have any more significance or meaning than anything else. And right now, there's nothing to do, nowhere to go. Just to meet whatever is here in this moment. Noticing how the attention shifts from a sensation to a feeling to a sound, a thought. And none of it has more meaning than anything else. And then we can again bring the attention to the breath. Noticing it as it is. And then we can take some deeper breaths into the belly. And then slowly, when you're ready, you can come back to the screen and opening your eyes. So each week, I like to respond to a suggestion of something to speak about that one of you has suggested or asked me to speak about. And today, it's about the fear of no self. Because when we are on this path, a path to awakening, the spiritual path, we hear that we need to lose ourselves, or that there is no self. And at first, perhaps the mind tries to do that. But of course, the mind can't really do that. It has an idea of what that means, or what that might be like. But it can't really do that, because essentially the self that the mind thinks shouldn't be there is the mind itself. It is thoughts. And then the reality of no self, actually, it is usually something that the mind doesn't really want, because it is the end of believing that the thoughts about a separate me are true and real and significant. And so the mind, maybe, or those thoughts, seem to have the good intention of trying to help with this spiritual goal that we might have of the no self. But actually, when we really see what it is to recognize that there is no self, it can be very confronting for the mind, for this separate self. And then there can be fear. And it can even feel like a bit of a push-pull feeling. You know, in one way, we long for this no self to just disappear into nothing, to die even. And then there can be also a running away in terror from that possibility, because it is the disappearance of who we have believed ourselves to be. And so the spiritual path, or this awakening process, can be a lot about this flip-flopping or push-pull between recognizing that there is no self, and then the fear of that, and then the holding on again, running away from that or pushing it away. And there can be a sense of standing on the edge of a cliff, knowing that that cliff edge is right there, and even a longing to jump off, but not even knowing how, and a fear also, running away, pulling back from that. And a lot of people speak about how they feel a bit stuck at that point with the fear and that cliff's edge. And really, it's not about trying to jump off the cliff. It's not about trying to lose the self or pushing ourselves to face that reality. It is about meeting the moment presently, first of all. And that means meeting the fear, feeling how confronting it can feel, even to think about no self, the absence of who I believe myself to be, can generate some fear. And so we just meet it, feel it. It's not a problem. It doesn't need to be pushed away. We don't need to be afraid of fear. Fear is an invitation, like any other sensation, to meet it, to be with it. And then as we feel that fear, we can question who is feeling it. And if thoughts come in with some story of me, perhaps who I think I am, the kind of person I am, or at least my body, I am this body, or I am in here behind these eyes, we can question that again. Is that really who I am? And we can, as we question this, notice again if there is fear. And if there is fear, again, we meet it. No need to push, no need to be harsh with ourselves, but at the same time, we go with the longing to question, the longing to discover that there is no one here, the longing to awaken out of a belief in a separate me, a sense that we are somehow keeping ourselves limited and small and located in this small me. We feel it, we know it, because it's painful to live like that. So we long to break free, right? To step out of that. And yet there is this knowing also that this is facing death, not the physical death. Life goes on for this human. And actually, it isn't anything to really be afraid of, although it's also natural to be afraid for the mind because it is the unknown. But essentially, for this person, this human living in the world, she goes on, he goes on living, goes on perhaps even just living a very ordinary life just as you were. But what changes is also quite fundamental, and that is that the limited imaginary story of me and the sense of being in this contracted location, this is seen through. And this, although it can at first feel scary, actually we are always held in a greater sense of self that isn't limited. It is so much bigger. It is unlimited, in fact. This is our true self, right? The sense of me, that small self, is actually always arising in that bigger self. Just as the fear is arising already in that bigger self, unlimited self that you are already. So the reality is that there is already no separate self. Already. You could even say it's too late to try to hang on to the edge of the cliff. You're already falling off the cliff, really. You just think that you're standing on the edge. The apparent separate self seems to be standing on the edge of that cliff. But the reality is that there is no cliff at all, because there is never a separate self. So when there's fear, there's simply fear happening for no one. The play as if there is a self happening for no one. So in fact, no one needs to die even, because you've never really been a separate self. And this is the paradox. But while you believe that you are a separate self and you believe that you are this small me, it can feel like you're standing on the edge of this cliff and there's this fear of losing yourself. And while it's like that, that is what's real for you. And so then we come back to just feeling the fear and questioning, who am I? And I'm not suggesting that this question of who am I should become a daily practice or something. If we really question, we only need to question once, or maybe a few more times just to double check. But actually, it's about really confronting that reality that there is no one here, that the one that you have believed yourself to be is just a thought, a belief, an idea, a story that you've been telling yourself, a story that most people tell themselves. This seems to be the game that we are playing here. And waking up out of that game, out of that story, we go on living. Nothing is really lost. In fact, everything is gained. We don't ever really lose a separate self, because there was never a separate self. And we gain everything that we've always been and that we always are, life itself. So really nothing to fear. Yeah. So just before we end, I'd love to maybe just take a moment in silence, just letting everything that we've been speaking about it today just to be felt in you. And then when you feel to, if you feel to write a few words in the chat, how you're feeling now, if anything's changed. It doesn't have to have changed, but if you feel to write something now, you're welcome. Nicole, quiet. Dennis, grateful. Annette, I love the idea that there's not even a cliff. And I'm so looking forward to the course starting on Sunday. Yeah, that actually is a good reminder to mention that. Thank you. That if you haven't signed up to join the 6-week journey starting this Sunday, you're very welcome. It's about, the theme is finding safety in uncertainty. And it will be 6 weeks of, whole journey. You can have a look on my website for more details, but it's a very embodied journey exploring true safety. What is true safety? And bringing that into our lived experience. Yeah. So you're welcome to still join that if you feel drawn to it. And I see Christina's written, love this meeting. Kati, tired and thank you. Okay. All right, I think we'll end there for today. So thank you very much, everyone. It's really sweet to see you. Lots of love. See you next week or on Sunday, maybe. Okay. Lots of love. Bye.